Darts told me more about myself than any book or podcast ever did. Sounds strange, but let me explain. This is Darts is Fun, and I'm Jozef, someone who started playing darts at the age of 35, which is quite late by most standards. But pretty quickly I realized that darts isn't just a game, it's actually a mirror. Every throw shows something about yourself. Sometimes such things you would rather skip to see. When I picked up the darts first, I didn't have any plan. I wasn't thinking about competing. I just wanted to have fun, a way to switch off. But even at those early days, I realized something quite weird. At some days I threw dead straight, but the other days I barely hit the sector. And nothing about my technique changed. Maybe I didn't even have a technique at that time. But at least I thought I do everything the same way, but the end result was completely different. The only things which changed were my mood, my feelings, my emotions, my headspace. And that's when I started paying attention. There was one specific evening. Nothing special, I was just practicing the doubles. I did my normal, usual drill, and then I got stuck on the double 16. I clearly remember there were many rounds when I threw on it and just kept missing. But it was nothing special about the miss. It was more that I recognized that feeling around it. It was exactly the same frustration what I feel if things are not going as per plan in my life. And suddenly it hit me. I was not fighting with a board. Actually, I was fighting with myself. That moment completely changed the way I'm looking at darts. Because once you see that connection, you cannot unsee it anymore. Darts exposes things what you can hide anywhere else. How you handle pressure, how you react on mistakes, whether you trust yourself, whether you overthink, whether you can reset after a bad visit. The board doesn't care about excuses or explanations. It's just like a board at a company, right? It just reflects your actual state of mind. And once you start noticing these patterns, you will notice them outside darts as well. That's when it gets interesting. When you start late, you bring your whole adult life with you. Your habits, insecurities, and strengths. Younger players rely on their instincts, but players in their 30s or 40s rely on their awareness. You don't have the natural confidence of a 20 years old, neither the endless energy, but you do have the ability to reflect, to observe yourself, to understand why you react the way you do. And that's when darts becomes to be more than a hobby. It becomes to be a tool. The more I played, the more I realized I wasn't just improving my throw, I was improving my awareness. And that's a strange thing about the game, which I didn't even consider being a sport before. It looked like a fun activity, throwing darts to a board, retrieving it, throwing again, having fun, having a beer, but nothing more. Till I realized the patterns, not just in my throw, but also in my reactions. For example, I realized how quickly I can get tense if I want something very much. The moment I start chasing a score, my arm tightens. The moment when I start to think, don't miss the 20, I hit the 5 or the 1. And that is not just a darts problem, that is a me problem. I've always been a type who wants the things right, who pushes hard, who wants to improve fast. And darts showed me exactly how it can backfire when the moment requires calm instead of effort. Another thing when I noticed how I talk to myself. In darts, the inner voice becomes to be super loud. If you are harsh with yourself in life, you will be brutal with yourself at the hockey. If you are impatient in life, you will be impatient with your throw. And once you hear that voice clearly, you cannot pretend it's not there. And I also started seeing clearly how I deal with my mistakes. Some people explode, some just shut down. I tend to stay calm and overthink, which is destructive. And darts doesn't let you hide from that. You throw, you miss, and then suddenly you are face to face with your own patterns. here's the interesting part. Once you see the patterns, you will be able to change them. Of course, first I tried to force it and pushed harder, and that set me on failure. Then I've stepped back and tried to understand what's going on inside. And that was the point when darts became something completely different. It started to be a tool, a feedback loop, to practice emotional control, acceptance, patience, and focus. All in a simple, very honest environment. And the crazy thing is, once you start to improve these in darts, it will get improved in your life as well. And that's the part nobody tells you when you start. You are not just learning a game, but you learn much more about yourself. I believe darts is the best way to improve your self-awareness. Once I realized it, I started digging deeper and deeper. I started to read about sports psychology, observing others, how they apply it, and also I tried to apply it for myself. Not in a scientific way, but just in a simple, curious, practical way. I never thought that I get so much interested about this aspect, but actually I enjoy it very much. It makes the practice sessions feel that I always learn something new about myself. And that's what I want to share on this channel. My learnings, my stories, my mistakes, the things which clicked for me, all of them. Not as someone who is telling you what to do. I'm not a professional coach and I don't want to pretend to be one. I would rather talk about my own journey. What helped me, what I was struggling with. Nothing fancy, just honest experiences. And if some of it resonates with you, then the channel is doing exactly what I hoped it would. Thanks for watching and being part of the journey with me. Let's see what the board teaches us next. Don't forget, darts is fun. Watch and play every day. Cheers.